Oh, dark spirit, will any of us die in the year to come?
You're moving it.
Put your hands back. Now.
Who among us will die? G. A.
Oh, man.
B. E.
Kate.
That blows.
That's it. We're going to the hospital.
I'm too tired.
Come on, sweetie, you've had a fever for almost a week now. Oh my God. Okay. Are you okay? Are you okay? Baby, what's wrong?
I'm dying.
What are you doing now?
We're collecting fluids from the rash.
Why?
They know what they're doing, Jeffrey.
Oh, great endorsement coming from the woman who thought it was a nasty cold. If I'd had him last week and he'd have
This
been...
isn't helping.
We're checking to see if your son has a tick bite.
Gabe, have you been camping recently? Playing sports outside, anything like that?
I'm not that good at sports.
No hanging out anywhere new? Strange
We've
places?
been through this. We don't let him run wild through the neighborhood, right?
Okay, this might be a bit delicate. We need to know if you're sexually active.
I beg your pardon? Who do you think my...
Rylick,
No.
we need to...
Nothing like that.
We've got to get another CT scan, check his lungs again.
Third floor, right?
Yeah, radiology is
Sorry, medical personnel only. Enlarged hilar lymph nodes.
Parabronchial thickening.
Pleural effusions.
Less obvious, more scary.
Well, the mediastinum doesn't look right.
Slightly widened. Oh, God. It can be transmitted through infected animal hair. But the gram stain would have
No,
shown...
the cefuroxime would have killed some of it, clouded the result.
We've got to get this kid on Levaquin.
What does he have? Anthrax. This house belonged to old man Hussein.
Maybe he is cursed.
Anthrax. So what, you think there were terrorists in that attic?
It's a naturally occurring bacteria. We believe it was in the insulation.
How sick is he?
Anthrax is very dangerous, but we've caught it early. He's on Levaquin. It's the best antibiotic we have.
Lisa, you buy this?
Jeff, you've helped our hospital a lot. I wouldn't have assigned Dr. House to your case if I didn't have every confidence in
Then
him.
who's this guy?
Jeffrey?
There's all these weird diseases that can cause a rash. What about leishmaniasis or filariasis?
Where'd you hear about those?
Internet. I did some research.
Well, those are very rare conditions.
Oh, and anthrax grows along the interstate?
Leishmaniasis doesn't cause pneumonia, and filariasis...
Just look into everything. This is my son, all right? And I'm gonna stay on top of you until I know he's safe.
Wouldn't expect anything else. Everyone's a doctor.
It's breathing. It's on the inhale.
What does that mean?
Means his airway's closing up.
Is the anthrax doing it?
All right, hold still, Gabe. This is going to be a little uncomfortable.
We've got you. It's okay.
Nodules in his throat.
Airways included?
We've got to intubate. Add a back.
Pushing 3 cc's.
Airway's too tight.
What's wrong? What's wrong? No, you're killing him!
Jeffrey, listen to their child!
Airway's too tight. Give me a smaller tube.
We're triking.
Smaller tube.
His lips are cyanotic.
Oh my God, he's not breathing.
Foreman, we're triking.
No, I can do it. I'll get it.
Foreman, you're not getting through.
He's not getting air. Oh, we have to trach him right now.
No, I can do it.
Betadine. I'm doing this.
Got it.
You mentioned 2 obscure diseases to Dr. Chase. How'd you know about them?
I read about him on the internet.
So what'd you search for? Diseases from Asia that don't match my son's symptoms? You heard about them in Asia.
I've never been there.
Well, you probably just forgot. Let me refresh your memory. Some remote, dusty village, close quarters, at least a year. Starting to come back.
Calling Dr. Cuddy.
Excuse me, what does this have to do with our son?
Your dad's pissed off. He should be. Comes here expecting us to do an extra good job because he gives a whole lot of money to this hospital.
Don't talk to my son like that!
Just telling him my job, my obligations.
Stop! What's going on?
There's only one thing you guys have got to do. Tell the truth, or your son will die. How long were you in Asia?
Jeff, it's a simple question.
Two years in India.
Why would you lie about something like
It was
that?
87 and 88. This guru, I thought he had some answers. I went to his ashram and ended up with no money and no answers. I was embarrassed. I didn't want anyone to know.
No. No, you were a test pilot.
I'm so sorry, Gabe.
What does this have to do with my son?
Clue number 1. If I were Jesus, curing this kid would be as easy as turning water into wine.
Demonic possession?
Close, but no wafer. Clue number 2, rheumatology Rhone was almost right. It causes autoimmune symptoms.
Leprosy? Yeah, that's real big in the Jersey suburbs.
It's leprosy. Run a fight stain, it'll be positive. Daddy hung out on the wrong kind of Indian ashram.
But it's obviously dormant in the dad. How could the kid catch it?
It's not dormant in the dad, it's just slow. Damaged his ulnar nerve, was misdiagnosed as carpal tunnel. Never trust doctors. Run a fight stain.
No wonder he got anthrax. The leprosy weakened his immune system.
Vicious circle. The leprosy made him vulnerable to the anthrax, and the anthrax treatment put the leprosy in overdrive.
But the antibiotics we gave him, they cure leprosy.
Yeah, that's where the trouble starts. The antibiotics hit the nerve strands, they kill the leprosy bacteria, and the corpses get tossed into the system. And as fascinating as our bodies are, they're also stupid. Produce antibodies that beat dead bacteria. And these aren't the polite antibodies. They're the ones that won't sit still, kick during nap times. They attack his neural and fat cells, causing inflammation and all the rest of his symptoms.
So the cure's killing him.
I want you to call down to Carville, Louisiana, home of the last leper colony in the lower 48. Get him to send up some thalidomide.
Thalidomide?
12-year-olds don't have sex, right? So he can't be pregnant. Make the call. Follow my finger with your eyes.
How much longer will Dr. Cuddy be?
Given the number of mojitos she's knocking back at the party, I'd say it's going to be at least 3 hours before she's even conscious.
Weren't you at the same party?
I don't drink. I want you to reach out and grab my cane.
What's wrong?
Your son's brain is losing control of his muscles.
Dr. Cuddy's message said it was just dehydration from the diarrhea.
She's wrong.
Is he gonna be all right?
I don't know. While you were all wearing your Frankie Says Relax t-shirts, I was treating a 73-year-old woman who went through this progression of symptoms, the last of which was... In case any of you missed that class in mid-school, that one's untreatable. Kids got the first two. It took Esther an hour and 20 minutes to go from 2 to 3. And less than a day to make it all the way to the rear exit.
This is all because a child has some blood in his diarrhea. He's got a tummy ache. If there was any reason to think it was anything worse, Cuddy would be all over it.
Great. Do a colonoscopy.
And a 6-year-old kid who probably has nothing worse than some food poisoning.
And if you happen to find any purple papules, do me a favor and grab a slice. I want to check for Erdheim Chester.
A disease that there have been, what, maybe 200 reported cases of, ever?
If Esther's family had let me do an autopsy, there'd be 201.
It's not the first time I've seen this file. About a month before Cameron was hired, some trucker came in here with these symptoms. House decided he was dying. 2 days and a spinal tap, bone marrow extraction, and 3 colonoscopies later, we send the guy home with a bunch of painkillers and a diagnosis of a bad cheese sandwich. One of the guys who worked here before me said House tried to cure Esther at least 3 other times. You know how people see the Virgin Mary in Danishes and stuff? Someone died 12 years ago, and House doesn't know why. House sees that case now, and paint peeling, and clouds, and now in this poor kid.
It's not Erdheim Chester.
It's exactly what we said before. A garden variety viral gastroenteritis. Can we go back to the party?
Do a kidney biopsy. Esther's shut down in exactly...
This kid is not Esther. You screwed up. She died. I'm sorry, but that does not mean this kid is dying as well.
Jeez. You can test you when you don't get any fuzz. Come on.
What'd the test say?
Colonoscopy was clean, and the biopsy was negative for Erdheim Chester.
So Ian's gonna be all right. It was just some sort of virus.
What's that?
Urine.
Oh, but it's brown.
Ian's kidneys are shutting down.
Still think it's not the same case? What explains everything?
E. coli HO157 causes bloody diarrhea and leads to hemolytic uremic syndrome. Toxins from the bacteria cause these kidneys to shut down. We should start him on plasmapheresis.
Clear, concise, and completely plausible. And exactly what I did last time. Didn't work. What else?
Goodpasture syndrome. Circulating antibodies cause kidney failure and bleeding.
But not the purple papules.
If you throw in Esther's next symptom, brain, makes me think heavy metal toxicity.
His hematocrit would have to be low. It's at 44, and Esther's never dropped below
42.
You have the file memorized?
It's my lucky number.
Chase! What? What's happening? Oh. Ian, come on. Honey, just relax. Ian, breathe. Come on, honey. Please. Please, honey.
cure the kid, we solve everybody's problems. How many?
Maybe 2 good pieces.
How many okay pieces?
3'd be pushing it.
3 tests, 7 choices. Okay, what's first?
Sarcoidosis seems most likely.
Yeah, so likely Cuddy's gonna think of that all on her own. She's got the kid's whole body to play with. Let her do that test. What's next?
It's moving too fast to be spreading. It has to be grown from something that's already there.
Genetic disorder, tuberous sclerosis.
Or it's his immune system, histiocytosis.
Well, there are more documented cases of histio amongst older people than tuberous sclerosis. Let's start with that. You want me out of here?
You come up with anything?
No.
Hey.
We can talk about it tomorrow.
I won the poker tournament. I totally played this guy Berman from Business Affairs. I got great cards, but I don't bet. Just call, no raises. Berman pairs his king on the flop. I keep calling. The river turns. I check. He can't stand it. He goes all in. He's sure he's won. I call. I flip him. Oh!
Pocket aces.
I nailed his ass.
The aces were hiding all along. Test him for Erdheim-Chester disease.
Erdheim-Chester? That's not even on the list.
Because we already did it. He tested negative.
So did Esther.
Disease lied.
Yeah, the tumor's got it in for you. Diseases don't lie.
Fine, it didn't lie. It's slow platus. We biopsied the colon. It hadn't reached the GI tract yet. It's there now. It's in his liver, his lungs.
You want it to be there. Because then you didn't screw up 12 years ago.
We can't waste our one test on the one disease we know it's not.
Run the test.
Sure about this?
Wait, let me think about that. Don't pressure me. Just run the damn test.
Cells look like macrophages.
That's a good start. Take your time and say it loud.
CD68 positive.
Start the treatment.
Need a hand?
No.
We never gonna work together again?
Just don't see the need to make you feel better by forgiving you.
I wasn't asking for forgiveness. I was asking if you needed help.
It's unprofessional to be talking about this in front of the patient. Maybe that doesn't matter to you, but...
Doesn't matter. She's not listening.
She's asleep.
Normal stage 1 brainwaves.
Maybe she's better? Still blurry.
You fell asleep.
No, I didn't.
negative for optic nerve disease.
But she sleeps.
For like 10 seconds, maximum 1 minute. We also checked the ocular pressure. It's normal.
And she doesn't know she sleeps.
Raina's often unaware of stage 1 sleep. CT showed no tumors, no clots, no seizure disorder.
So she sleeps, she just can't stay asleep.
You going somewhere with this?
You know what keeps me awake at night? Monsters in the closet.
There's no monster in the closet. We looked.
Well, certainly not showing up on the scans. Where's Cameron?
She felt I could deliver the news on my own.
Oh, this is gonna work out great. Come on. You two guys can't play nice together. I'm taking away your toys. I don't care whose fault this is.
If you hadn't...
Especially don't care if it was my fault. Whatever this woman has, it's not showing up on our tests, which means she's sick. Just not sick enough for us to see it.
You want us to make her sicker?
Yes. I want to stress her body, specifically her brain. Keep her awake.
Depriving her of even the few minutes of sleep she does have, it's torture.
So's cutting people with knives. You can totally get away with that if you have a doctor coat on.
House, those few seconds of sleep are maybe the only reason she's still alive.
The more symptoms we can force out of her, the more tests we can do. The more tests we do, the more information we get, the quicker we make a diagnosis. See how much more fun it is when you guys get along? You two take the first 4 hours.
Hannah? Hannah! You fell asleep.
No, I didn't.
Your brain doesn't remember. It was just a few seconds.
Is this really necessary?
The sooner we find out what's wrong, the sooner she can get a real night's rest.
Hannah? Hannah? Hannah?
Ow! What did you do that for?
You fell asleep again.
No, I didn't.
We're sorry.
We have to do this.
You don't have to be cruel.
You know what happens when you're nice. Nothing.
That's how you define nice, not stealing.
Doctors?
Did you fall asleep again?
We've got rectal bleeding.
What, all of you? So the monster is peeking out from under the bed, which either means she has a clotting disorder or she has a tumor in her colon.
We'll do a colonoscopy.
Who's keeping her awake now?
I figured once we found another symptom, it really didn't matter.
Yeah, he's got all the ideas.
Who is with her?
Her partner's donating blood, so she's with a nurse.
Probably singing her lullabies. I want her awake.
You have to sedate a patient to do a colonoscopy.
Why? Just because of the pain? If you find a tumor in her colon, you can knock her out. If you don't, she stays awake.
Packed her nose to control the bleed and started transfusing 2 units of whole blood.
The pathology from the rectal bleed showed traces of nasal epithelium.
So the butt bleed's just a nosebleed.
That much blood is not a just a anything.
When 2 people fight this much, you know what it means.
It's got to be a massive sinus hemorrhage that was draining down her throat and out the back.
The question isn't what, it's why.
Oh, get a room.
Rat poison mixed with some sort of neurogenic toxin could cause bleeding and sleep disturbances.
Do you have a specific type of neurogenic toxin in mind, or should we just start running 1,000 different tox for you?
Just pretend I'm not here. I'll be reading.
Could also be some type of coagulopathy.
Or it could be us. Do you have any idea what it feels like to have a 6-foot-long hose shoved into your large intestine?
No, but I now have a much greater respect for whichever basketball player you dated in college.
We've basically been torturing this girl for the last 8 hours.
You've been poking her foot, not punching her face.
Extreme stress can cause high blood pressure, which can cause bleeding.
Wouldn't keep her awake for 10 days.
What if the poison ivy wasn't poison ivy? She got the rash that was diagnosed as poison ivy around the same time the insomnia started. Rash plus nosebleed plus sleep disturbance equals Wegener's granulomatosis. Start corticosteroid treatment.
The poison ivy treatment was steroids.
Much lower dosage. Get her back on the juice, triple the dose. Get a C anchor and an upper airway biopsy to confirm the Wegener's.
Chase?
Hannah? You still with us?
What's wrong with her eyes?
Looks like REM.
What's that?
Rapid eye movements is what your eyes do when you're sleeping.
But she's awake.
Hannah. Hannah, can you hear me?
Yeah, of course.
Was she sitting up or lying down?
Sitting up.
And it wasn't REM.
Chase says her eyes were moving the exact way.
She started her on the steroids?
Not yet. We were still doing the...
She wasn't sleeping.
How do you know?
Because we haven't done anything yet. She may be able to sleep with her eyes open, but unless you also discovered she's got 2 extra teats and hooves for feet, there's no way she'd be able to maintain enough muscle tensity during REM sleep to sit upright. It's a movement disorder, which rules out Wagner's. Where's the foreman?
Keeping her awake.
Good.
Rabies could cause muscle spasms, malaise, anxiety, and wakefulness.
Pretty unlikely she'd forget being bitten by a crazed animal.
She could have been exposed to an open wound.
She had a dog?
For less than a week. She had an allergic reaction, so they had to give it away.
Allergies.
Animal allergy seems unlikely, but it's possible that...
When?
When what?
When did she get rid of the dog?
About a month ago. Her girlfriend gave it to her for her birthday.
Well, then it's not allergies. She's just leaving her girlfriend.
You spoke to the dog?
If her birthday was a month ago, she would have still been on steroids for the poison ivy. And those meds would have suppressed any reaction she might have had to the dog, which means she lied about being allergic. The dog's a commitment. You pretend to be allergic because you don't want to tell your girlfriend that you're not planning on being around that long. So I think we can move on to options other than allergies.
We should still do a scratch test. If she's allergic to one thing...
She is not allergic.
Okay. Well, we could either base our diagnosis on your admittedly keen understanding of lesbian relationships, or we could do a scratch test.
Do a scratch test.
Fever's 106. She's in full rejection mode.
Is that supposed to surprise me?
Her white count is normal.
Normal is not normal. She's been on steroids. The transplant team gave her a cocktail of immunosuppressants. She hasn't slept in over a week. Her white count should be in the tank.
Looks like the problem is some sort of infection. Probably caused a hypotension, shocked the liver.
We should start broad-spectrum antibiotics.
Yeah, you might want to add some chicken soup. It'd be just as useless, but it's got chicken. We need to know exactly what kind of infection we're dealing with. What infection causes sleep disturbance, bleeding, movement disorder, organ failure, and an abnormally normal white count.
What about tularemia?
Chest was clear. Tularemia doesn't cause movement disorders.
It would if she developed meningitis.
There was no ulcerations on the skin. With the bleeding, it looks more like leptospirosis.
Without conjunctivitis and elevated creatinine?
What about typhoid or some kind of relapsing fever?
Makes sense if we were in the Sudan.
You sure she hasn't been out of the country?
She hasn't even been out of the state in at least a year, neither has Max.
Maybe she lied. You talk to her friends, neighbors?
You don't know? Come on, if you don't stay up to date on my notes, where's your next article gonna come from?
Talk to the dog?
We're not as up on foreign languages as you are.
Has the dog been traveling?
It came from a breeder.
Where?
I don't know. A place called Blue Barrel Kennels. They only had the thing for like 2 days.
Blue Barrel is a kind of cactus. You see many cacti in Jersey? Want to see a magic trick? Oh no! Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is it here? No. What about here? There it is. Oh, that doesn't look anything like a nose.
That wasn't there this morning.
And call a CDC.
Tell them what?
That we have a patient with the plague.
The Black Plague?
Looks that way.
Plague's carried by rodents, not dogs.
Where there's dogs, there's fleas. And if they hail from the southwest, and those fleas can't tell the difference between prairie dogs and puppy dogs. A small percentage of plague cases present with sleep disturbance. Imagine an idyllic river of bacteria. It's not idyllic for her, but it serves my purposes. The steroids and the immunosuppressants acted like a big honking dam across the river. Physics 101, put a dam up in front of a raging river, the river rises. By stopping the immunosuppressants, we blew up the dam. and a 100-foot wall of bacteria flooded her lymph nodes.
We better find out where that dog is now.
After you restart the immunosuppressants and fill her up to the eyeballs with streptomycin, sulfate, gentamicin, and tetracycline. Use a garden hose if we got one. Get yourself some prophylactic treatments as well.
I've got the plague.
Don't worry, it's treatable. Being a bitch, though. Nothing we can do about that.